Welcome to Business Success Navigators, brought to you by Empowering Business Inc. I'm Robyn Scobey, and I am here today with a representative from the CFIB. Can I get you to introduce yourself, please?
With pleasure. My name is Christina Santini. I'm the Director of National Affairs in Ottawa for the Canadian Federation of Independent Business.
And exactly what is the Canadian Independent Business?
Absolutely. So the CFIB is a non-for-profit organization and nonpartisan organization that represents small businesses from coast to coast and across all sectors. We have over 97,000 members that are Canadian owned, not publicly traded, and just your everyday mom and pop shop or small business, manufacturing, corner store, hairdressers, etc. Just really the whole range of businesses. And what we do for them is one, we're their voice. It's a collective voice. Every single one of our members has a vote through surveys that we send out that sort of determine what our policy position and our policy priorities will be. And we bring their concerns and we bring their priorities to government officials. We have individuals like myself that lobby at the federal government, but we also have individuals that lobby provincial governments to ensure that small business considerations are kept in mind when policy is being made, or at least we make sure that they very well know that this is the small business perspective. The other thing, though, that is maybe less known is that we offer incredible business resource services, including phone line access to over 40 advisors that will help small business owners with questions that they have with regards to CRA and the reporting requirements they have there, importation, HR. They also provide access and develop a whole bunch of really useful resources and templates that could save businesses money. For example, we have one member that said, oh yeah, I paid a lawyer to write up a termination letter and then realized that we had business resources available through our membership. Asked an advisor if they could send me a template, and it was the same thing, so they could have saved so much money. So that was one of the things that, or the services that could be accessed through the CFIB, is that access to and awareness of the laws, how it could be applied, and what the requirements are. That being said, we're not lawyers, but with what should be on your workplace health and safety board, we can give you that checklist, and we can give you some of the material that could be on that board. The other thing is, because we represent 97,000 members, if not more at this point, we can negotiate preferential agreements or savings agreements with certain partners, such as Scotiabank, Chase, and ViewBiz, for example, that provide services at a discounted rate for our members. So it could be interesting to join the CFIB to end up saving money on those types of services.
And how would somebody join the CFIB to become a member?
CFIB.ca, you go to our website, you could get to already peruse some of the information and work that we've done recently. But of course, if you do become a member, you get access to quite a bit more. And just you'll have a link to be able to become a member.
I know I love the CFIB. I'm not sure where I got it along the way, but I never realized how much information that was available to small businesses. It is an amazing thing. I really recommend all of our viewers to go and look, if not become a member. If you want to have a voice, you need to be a member.
And our petitions are open to everyone. And right now we have one petition going on, which could interest many small business owners who took on the CEBA loan, Canadian Emergency Business Account Loan. So we do have a petition. We are sharing a list of the signatories of those petitions with the MPs where the businesses are situated when we meet with them. And right away, I can tell you the MPs look at those signatures and like, I know these businesses, I know this business, and it sort of humanizes the issue. So what that petition is asking for is for a delay in the deadline, or a further delay in the deadline from where it's at now, January 18th, to the end of December 2024. So that's the CEBA repayment deadline that allows you to retain the forgivable portion.
That's a huge thing, because a lot of businesses were shut down for a long time unexpectedly. And that loan did carry them, but the economy just has not allowed them to get back to where they need to be yet to be able to repay it.
So consumers' spending habits sort of changed through COVID, and businesses are pivoting, but they need time and they need financial flexibility to be able to do that. Also, revenues aren't back to normal. We hear it from our members. It's one of the indicators we survey on. 47% aren't back to their pre-pandemic revenues. So of course, here we're talking about revenues, profits may be even lower because they're telling us costs are going up across all their business lines. All the inputs, whether it be labor, transportation, energy, insurance, it's going up. So we're making sure government is aware of it, of course. But that's the reality, is given that the revenues are lower for a good portion of them. Some are doing really well and great for them, but others are finding it more difficult. So revenues are going down, costs are going up, including interest on debt. It's not the best time. And so, as you said, they're struggling with this debt that they had to take on because they were told by government, you've got to close your doors for public health reason. Okay, we'll do it. We'll do our part. But now government needs to provide further relief, or should be providing further relief, because, you know, come this month, we're barely 1 year out of the last restriction that was 1 year out of the last restriction that was last imposed by the federal government. Should be noted that some of the federal travel restrictions were just lifted last October. So
that makes it really hard for the small businesses trying to make it happen. And it's one thing to make your daily bills, it's another to have to pay back that, and it was a large amount of money to have to come up with it now.
Exactly. That's what we're trying to say. It's, you know, for those who took out 60,000, of which 20,000 can be forgivable, 40,000 is still difficult to come to pay off when you have yet to return to normal revenues, or when you have a lot of other costs. We know that on average, 60% of our members still have a pandemic-related loan, and those amounts average over 100,000. Now, CEBA is one portion of it, but it's the portion the federal government has control on it. So that's why we're focusing our efforts there. And if we can get reprieve there, it can allow them to manage some of the other pressures to which they're probably facing higher interest rates on, because we know many of them have variable loans.
Right. And right now they need to repay it by what day again?
So in September 14th, the federal government announced that the CEBA repayment deadline, which enables you to keep the forgivable portion, was pushed back by 18 days. So it was pushed back from December 31st of 2023 to January 18th of 2024. However, if you enter into a financing agreement, so that means if you contact your private institution and you try to renegotiate or to negotiate a loan that would enable you to pay off the CEBA loan, well, then you can end up, you have to enter or begin entering into that agreement or looking for that agreement before January 18th, but you have until March 28th to get that agreement approved or that financing approved and to pay off the loan. And you still get to retain the forgivable portion. However, if you miss those two deadlines, then you end up having to fall into the conditions of the loan, which is you lose out on the forgivable portion. You owe the full $60,000, and you have now until the end of 2026 to pay that back. It used to be the end of 2025. That is what they pushed back by a year. They pushed back the duration of the program by a year. So now you have the end of 2026, where before you have to pay back the full amount of the loan at 5% interest, and all they have to pay back is the interest during that time. But before the end of the term, they have to pay back the full amount. So clearly, we're encouraging our members, while we're still keeping up the fight and trying to get them to reconsider the timelines for keeping the forgivable portion. They need to look at what's best for them based on this information that's out there. You know, if their personal circumstances mean that they could take out a loan, pay off the balance, keep the 20,000, and they'll quickly be in a position to pay off that balance, even if it's at that new loan, even if it's at a 14.7% interest rate or 10% interest rate, whatever they end up getting, that's, they'll need to do that calculation as to, based on their own financial position, as to what's advantageous to them. That would be the key thing, is to look at the conditions that would exist in terms of getting a new loan or going into staying on the government program, but having to pay off now what would have been forgiven and taking on a bigger amount of debt. Ultimately, we always say the idea of trying to get a loan to pay off so that you keep the forgivable portion. What we say to government reps when we meet with them is, you're basically asking small business owners to take out a MasterCard to pay off their Visa. So it's not the greatest approach. So we make sure to highlight that for them.
So a couple of things. I guess it shocked me right off the bat to hear only some of it was extended by the year. So it's really important that all of our listeners, if they do have this loan, to be acting on it now, to be contacting their banks, trying to negotiate something.
At the very least, look at what the government, look at those deadlines, because many are confused. Many have thought, oh, I've got another year. No, the term of the program was extended by a year. The actual deadline for the forgivable portion was 18 days. So look at those three scenarios and think those through. And if that means talking to your accountant or talking to your bank and seeing what they have on offer, do it, but really look at the terms and conditions of the products being offered, whether it's really advantageous, and make the best decision for their own, or a business owner should make the best decisions for their personal circumstances. Just really look at the terms and conditions of any agreement that is being signed, if they are negotiating a loan or any type of other arrangements.
Mm-hmm. And I think it would be rather hard to get a loan to repay another loan without going into a consolidation or looking at some other finance options. Because you're right, you're taking and getting a Visa to pay off your MasterCard. That is so true.
Yeah, and so loans, line of credits. There's probably lots of different types of instruments out there. We're concerned that individuals might start getting quite desperate and might not get the best instrument. So that's why we're really expressing caution and making sure that the best decision is being made, because there could be predatory lending practices out there where you end up seeing, over 20% interest rates being charged. That may not be the best situation in the end.
Right. Definitely look at what your interest is to your forgivable part. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The other thing, you had mentioned that you guys have a petition. Would it be wise for our viewers also to be contacting, who should they be contacting to try?
So yes, we have a petition on our CFIB website. Any small business owner can go ahead and sign it, have fellow business owners sign it as well. The more voices we put on this issue, or the greater weight we put on this issue, the better. That being said, put a face before your MP. The MPs, the federal MPs that you elect, they need to be aware of how this is going to affect the small businesses in their community, and also what you bring to your community. This week is Small Business Week. We have a research report that came out that says that 66 cents of any dollar spent at a small business or a local business stays local, compared to 11 cents at the big businesses or 9 cents online. This is huge. 97% of our members stated that they contributed either goods, money, or time to charitable organizations. So this is the type of thing that MPs need to be sensitized to, is that it's not one person losing a job. It's not one business closing. It's a person whose personal finances and credit may also be affected. It's a person who may employ 3-4 other people, if not more. It's a person, or it's a business, because there is a person behind the business. So let's put that person before the MP. It's a business that may be giving to street outreach programs, school breakfast programs, supporting the local little leagues, and etc. And that's what the community is going to be losing. And so that's what we're trying to do now in the last few months, is really trying to humanize that story by encouraging small business owners to contact their MPs.
That is so true. So I currently live in a town of 800 people. And we don't have any of those big items. We don't have a Walmart. We have very small shops, and that's how we support ourselves. So the CEBA loan really could devastate a lot of communities, and it has a huge effect. It's goes right down to our schools, because if you don't have the services, people aren't going to live in that community anymore.
It could have many impacts, many of them which we don't know and we can't measure yet. Back in March, when we'd done a survey in terms of who had the ability to pay it back, of those who didn't, how many would struggle, and what would be the potential to survive. From those results, we estimated that 250,000 businesses would close. Understanding that there's just about over 1 million small businesses across Canada, you're still talking about a fifth to a quarter of small businesses might see their doors shut. So we did, send that number out. It got some awareness and some traction. It's just 18 days isn't much of an extension. And I don't think it's going to make many of them be better off or in a better situation.
No.
Yeah. And as you're referencing, schools, I know one member shared a story about the fact that they give granola to their local school program, and they're affected by the CEBA loan. And so if things are so tight, that's going to be one school program that's going to be looking for a new supplier.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And like the minor hockey and the dancing and everything that small communities thrive on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult, but it's also, again, the importance of making sure that the MPs is aware of the impacts and what the standings are, so that they can better represent their electorates before the party. Even Liberal MPs have a voice in caucus. So the caucus is like within their party. So go see them, regardless of what the stripe is, go see them.
And can non-business owners sign your petition?
I presume that they can, because we don't distinguish. However, when there is a business name beside it, it strikes home, because it's a site that they can end up visiting and seeing.
Right. So for everybody, just go and talk to your government representatives that are in your area, sign your petition.
Absolutely.
And start doing your research. That's the 3 big things I'm hearing right now.
Exactly. Put a human face to the issue and make sure that your local MP knows how it's affecting your business, and how, if your business closes, it would affect the community. Look up what the current provision, look up CFIB's petition, see if you're interested in signing it, and see what the terms and the current provisions are to make sure you make the best decision for your business.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. This was amazing.
Thank you very much for having us, Robyn.
Thanks. Down at the bottom under comments, you will find the link right into the CFIB, so you guys can all go do your research. Thank you very much. Thank you.